Outlaws, we appreciate you. You're missing a lot of the stuff that we're only putting on Patreon. So join the rest of the Outlaw Nation today on Patreon, link below. It's only a Starbucks cup of coffee a month to have the best insider news and to help the project. What's up, Outlaws? How is everybody today? Guys, you guys are amazing. You're crushing the algorithm. Everybody has in the comments and in emails. I appreciate all your emails. I read them all. I may not respond to you all. I read them all. You've been asking, what is Recce? What is a Recce kit? There's just a lot of stuff on the internet that maybe not is so true. So Recce in the circles that I run around with, how about that, okay? Recce can be used in 3 or 4 different things. The purpose of Recce, it's the guys that go out and they get eyes on target and they gather information and then they come back. So you can go gather information on a long range recce where you're gonna be out 5, 6, 7 days, not what this is. Or you can go for hit missions, which this goes well with my assaulters kit, which is what this is. Kind of just, encompass this to whatever it is that you're running. Right now we're talking about, WROL, World War III, that comes to our shores, okay? Is this a likely thing? Probably not. But maybe, right? I mean, if we've never been closer than we are right now. All right, so that being said, let's start off with our headgear. First thing you need for Recce or for anything that you're doing is you need your eye protection. You've got to have them. I like gaiters because they give you ballistic protection. These are the clear ones and they work with the sun. So they kind of keep that perfect amount of vision for you. Guys skydive with these. You can ride motorcycles with these. The protection on them is outstanding. I highly recommend you get gaiters. They will burn you when it's hot though. All right, so normally when I did my assaulting, I told you I would have my ballistics helmet. For a recce mission, I might, but I might not as well. So I have a bump helmet, right? Bump helmet for rappelling. Maybe you're riding a motorcycle or a 4-wheeler and you need some head protection. Or maybe you're on that recce team. You're not the sniper of the recce team, but you're on the recce team. And the chances of you getting into a gunfight close range are a whole lot less and you need to go lighter. So what you do is you just switch over your PVS 31s, your strobe, and these are ops core amps, but it doesn't matter what hearing protection / radio you have. You just add it all to your bump helmet and it saves you, I don't know, a couple of pounds, which is easier on your neck, easier for you to move fast, easier for you to wear it longer. And I always recommend that you have some kind of head protection because you never know when you're gonna slip and fall. You might be moving at night and run into some brush. And of course it holds your night vision. Another thing you guys wanna bring with you is the actual headband for whatever your headgear is, because there's a good chance that if you're there in the daytime, you may not want to wear your helmet with your nods on it. So you may pop those off, put this on, and you still have your hearing protection and your radio comms to your guys. Remember, the most important things you can do is shoot, move, and communicate. If you can't communicate, you're in trouble. All right, I know a lot of you turned this off a little bit early. Stick to the end for the more interesting stuff. You know it's coming up. All right, my recce pack. Again, this is just like assault. You don't need that much food. Carry 1 or 2 MREs with you, but carry water, and more water. So I carry a hydration pack, a camel pack on the inside so I can sip on it. I still carry the 32-ounce Nalgene bottle and something to purify your water so that you have something to sip on all day, something to chug, and something to purify it. But I choose this Eberly stock. I believe this is the X1 low drag. I choose it because it allows me to put a rifle in it and it allows me to carry everything I need for it's the X31 low drag. It allows me to carry everything I need for a recce mission. Remember, I'm not trying to stay out there and camp. I'm just out there to accomplish a mission in front of my assaulters. All right, I keep a Wild Things rain tarp in here. You can get a USMC rain tarp. You can go back and check our video on this tarp, the high-end versus the low-end tarp, and add this to your kit. It works for a camo blind, and it also works to keep you up off of the ground, off of where it's wet, and wrap this around you in case that it rains. And again, like I said, I might be sleeping out there, but I'm not camping, and so this works well for that. Weather depending, I carry puff gear. This is from Wild Things. It's multicam, so it blends in really well. And this is what I would sleep in. So I would still sleep in all of my clothes, still sleep in all of my gear, have my rifle next to me with the puffy. I would just take my backpack off. That way, in the event that I woke up fast, I could just grab my gun, grab my backpack, and run. But I'm still in my puffy gear, which really does act as a sleeping bag, wrapped up in that marine tarp or Wild Things tarp. All right, spotting scope. Mine's a Swarovski. It doesn't matter what spotting scope you have, get a spotting scope. The idea is you are the Recce team, you are there gathering intel, and you are there before your guys get there. So example, you know your guys are gonna be there and you're gonna do, WROL, and you're gonna go check out a Walmart, right? An abandoned Walmart, let's just say. And you're gonna have your recce guys go in the night before if you're gonna do it in the day, or the day before if you're gonna do it in the night. So they may spend 24 hours there watching everything, documenting what happens, and then when you show up, then they're your cover, and they've told you what happens, and then when you leave, you all leave together. A spotting scope is key to making that happen in the daytime. It also works at nighttime, but get you a spotting scope. All right, guys, you still need to be able to see day and night. Now, because this is the Recce team side for me, I chose the 12 power, 12 by 50 Swarovskis. You'll be surprised how well you see at night, but I might need to keep a little extra range because I might try to place myself 400 to 600 meters just out of small arms fire from these guys, and to where I can still hold a normal conversation and not worry about somebody coming to get me because I blew cover. The other thing I carry with me is this Vectronics PLRF 25 Charlie, and it is a rangefinder. It's a laser rangefinder. You can also use it. It's 7-power binocular. So if there's somebody on the team that you need ranges for snipers, or maybe you need ranges in between ridge lines, this thing will tell you. It also tells you your angles. These together are a great combination so that you can visually see. All right, depending on your mission, the Recce team is usually gonna have a camera. It doesn't matter what camera you have. You might need to take photos beforehand, go back and scroll at them and look at them yourself. You might have some sort of an internet connection which you can upload them to the cloud so your intelligence can see them. And then after you do the mission, you might need to take a lot of pictures. So a camera's, in World War III may not matter, but if you have the ability, a camera may, because you can also zoom in way further, take a picture, and even zoom in further when you need to say, hey, is that Rick James? Click. Yep, that's Rick James. All right, guys, my tripod kit. My tripod kit comes with a couple of pieces, all right? One of them is the hog saddle. I keep the hog saddle here in the event that I need to use this for my gun, okay? When you're trying to make longer shots, you'll be surprised. It's a lot harder to do just free-handed, so you need to use a tripod to be able to do it. And most of the time, you're not gonna have a bipod, although you still need one. I'll show you here in a second. But so I have it's the Manfrotto 055. I don't know what tripod case this is. What is this thing? It took forever to get, but it's centermass.com. It is a great tripod kit. It will hook right directly to your backpack. It'll hold the Manfrotto carbon fiber 055 and this Manfrotto head. One of y'all asked me what it was the other day. The head is the 222. This head makes it to where I can hold cameras, binoculars, thermals, and a gun. So I cannot underestimate the importance of having a tripod, especially when you need to shoot off of it. All right, along with that is a bipod. I don't leave the bipod on my gun. I leave the bipod in my pack because in filling, I might need to jump and shoot. When I get there, I might need to put this on. I chose the Accutac. I really like this Accutac bipod. It's quiet, it's quick, and it moves in the directions that I need it to move in to be able to get better shooting positions. And I'm just a big fan of how strong these are. And I would definitely pick up an Accutac bipod if you can. Any bipod will work, but I keep this in my pack near my tripod as one of my systems to be able to get the job done. Remember, you may be laying on your gun for 24, 36 hours before your assault team shows up and you're watching them making sure that they're good, but you still need to keep your gun there for the fight. Okay, my chest rig. This chest rig is gonna kind of blow your mind. I know it goes so against all of the speed shooters that you do. Mine's an SOE. I use this SOE They have a couple of different ones. I specifically choose this one for this reason, okay? It is for Recce. One, it's lighter. I would probably choose the bigger harnesses. I actually wore this for, I don't know, 2 days a couple of months ago, and I thought, dang, I wish I had the padded harnesses, so I'd probably add that, and I'd probably add the water bladder just so I could have two water bladders, because remember, on an assault mission, you're the Recce team, and you're gonna need a lot of water. Like, you're gonna need a lot of water. All right, so I just have 4 magazines. Inside of here, my format, I don't expect to do these high-speed, low-drag magazine reloads because it's just not real life. I keep PMags, and I keep 77 grain Sierra Match King in them, which is precision ammo that works well with my rifle. On the side, I have a tourniquet, and then when I open the pouch on this side, I've got a set of scissors, a Leatherman tool, a medical kit, and then I've got a SIG 226. Why a SIG 226? I don't know. It's what I had here, and it just makes it easy to put inside here. It fits well. I put it up. It protects it from the elements, and I have the things on my chest because chances are when you are when you're doing a recce mission, you're going to be on your belly or on your back. Not so much standing up and trying to fight somebody. So I like this one. I know there are a lot of great ones. I have a Travis Haley. I have a lot of other ones, but I've used this one for a long time, mainly just, I keep it loaded all the time. I keep it for the protection of my gear, because if you're on your belly all of the time, you're gonna find out that this stuff gets really dirty, grimy, and will cause problems for you. If you look how well this thing covers your gear, it's not the super high speed sexy of today, but it is I need to get a real life job done, and I need to get it done well and protect my gear. That's why I choose SOE. Guys, I know you're gonna say, wait a minute, are you carrying your belt? And the answer to that is no. If I'm on the recce team or the sniper team, I'm not carrying this. And I'll give you a really good reason why. I carried this and rolled around in the dirt with this holster, which is Blackhawk Model T, which is my favorite holster, with a Glock. And it still works. It dusted everything up so bad. It scratched everything up. So I don't care about scratches, but it scratched it all up for all you girls. And so on a recce team where I'm trying to go in light, I'm not necessarily wearing armor. I'm scrapping this belt for this belt. And on this belt, what I have is I have a radio pouch for my radio, whatever your comms are with your guys. I have a knife. This is actually a cool knife. If you need a pretty cool knife, a pretty cool knife maker, it's TCT Knives. He was one of the guys that did the things, and he's a cool dude. You can find him on Instagram if you need a really cool knife. So I just carry one magazine, and I carry it because it's covered. And so I keep it covered because I want to be able to make sure that my stuff is out of the elements. I don't want it to be in the elements, in the mud, in the dust, in the grime, and make it where it's hard to get out, hard to get in, or you get something inside the rounds and you can't actually get it into the gun and make it work. So I cover up my magazines, especially on the recce team. All right, I always keep with me, and I move this one bag from kit to kit to kit, okay? I take all of this with me, and I take what I need for each mission. All right, this bag is my escape and evade bag. So it's a small bag. If I had to escape, I'm just gonna take this. It has the ability to make fire. It has the ability for an extra knife, a multi-tool. Remember, if you're on an assault team or a recce team, you're not really gonna make fire. You want to have the ability maybe, but the idea is you're not making fire because you shouldn't be out there long enough that you actually need that. On the recce side of this, I keep a SILKY GOMBOY with me, and the reason why is because veg is the edge, and when I'm out there hiding, I might need to make a shooting path, or I might need to make some sort of camouflage around me. I'm not trying to make a ghillie suit because I'm trying to stay out of distance of these guys, and I might need this, so I keep this with me. It's light, it's easy, and it does the job. Gloves, I keep 2 pair of gloves. One of them is a Wiley X kind of assaulter's glove. This will stay on me all the time. The other one, I keep gloves in every pack in case you ever lose a set of gloves, you have gloves with you. The other one is a Mountain Hardwear, just a thicker pair. They have the leather on them. I chose this for the recce bag because I might be grabbing branches, using the GOMBOY to cut them off, or having to, move stuff out of the way. And I like those leather palms for this. You don't have to copy these, just get some. Once again, dress weather appropriate. I'd like to keep the lightest set of long johns inside my kit, and the reason why is because they are some weight, but they're pretty light. They're an extra change of clothes in the event that you got soaking wet and it was cold. You could be in the mountains on a 50-degree day, 60-degree day, get soaking wet and get hypothermia. This gets those clothes off and gets these on and lets you dry out. Although I would think if you were on a recce mission, you probably should try to do the best you can to stay dry. Balaclava. You might need to stay warm, and you might not need to be seen when you're there, and you may not want to, paint your face all up. So balaclava does concealment and it does warmth. I carry a boonie cap with me. The reason I carry a boonie cap is because it does break up your head a little more. And in each one of these deals, if you had to, you could use that SILKY GOMBOY and put brush and such inside here, cover yourself up for that recce team a little bit better. And of course, I got the schmog. You always keep the schmog, you know that. All right, I keep an extra medical kit or two inside my bag. Right now, I just have one that stays inside my backpack. That extra medical kit, along from the one you have, is because if you're recce team and you see your assaulters go do a mission and now you've cleaned up the mission, but maybe somebody's hurt, you're the one that's up, and maybe one of you is covering security or two of you covering security, and then one or two of you go in and help get guys out that are injured. So you have extra medical kits with you, because recce guys are kind of on the, they're there in the fight, but they're on the outside of the fight. And so it's okay for them to have a little extra equipment to doctor you up. All right, guys, the heavy stuff. This is an LRTV, and it has a rangefinder on it to give me my ranges. So I have a day rangefinder, a night rangefinder. I have binoculars to give, and a spotting scope for daytime, and I have this LRTV for nighttime. It also records, which is kind of cool if you needed to send it back to your command. I keep 2 extra batteries with me. Again, you gotta be 400 to 600 meters off of the target because this thing's kind of loud. It's heavier than what you can lift it up, but it's heavier, so that's why I have the tripod. It mounts on the tripod. You can adjust the tripod to the height you need, and you can sit behind the thermals and you make sure that you're watching your guys back and seeing what people are doing in the thermals. Remember, thermals don't go through windows. So if you're using thermals and you're looking into a house, sometimes it will pick up the heat from the person on the inside, but sometimes it won't, which is why you need a combination of both. All right, guys, my recce rifle. Let's go butt to tip on this girl. I know you watched my video on the DD M4V7. If you didn't, you should go back and watch it. This rifle quickly became kind of my favorite rifle. I just love this thing. With 77 grain Sierra Match Kings, I'm shooting about 5/8 inch group, which is pretty freaking awesome. I mean, it really is awesome. I left the Daniel Defense buttstock. I changed it, and then I went back to it. I left the Daniel Defense grip. I changed it, and I went back to it. I do have the Geisley SSAE trigger in here. I know Daniel Defense couldn't leave that one in there, and for the ability to have a 2-stage trigger and make it break really easy on your shots, for a little more precision, I was a big fan of that, so that's why I chose it. The optic that I chose the Trijicon VCOG, and the reason I chose the VCOG is because it is a solid piece of metal that they machine out rather than an extruded piece, so they really are battlefield tough. They are the toughest scope on the market. And so I figure in a recce world, you're just gonna beat the trash out of this thing, and it will just take the licking and keep on ticking. It takes a AA battery. I haven't ran the battery out on it yet, and I use it all the time. The 1 power on it makes it to where it's almost like, if I could compare, almost like looking through an EOTech, and then you can just reach down, grab the whole thing, and have up to an 8 power, which gives you the ability to 8 power at 600 meters, you're gonna see everything. You're gonna know. So you're the recce team, you're back, 400, 500, 600 meters, and you're watching what's going on and you needed to make precision shots, you can do it with the VCOG really well. All right, I have the Mod Light dual fuel OKW on here. I chose the dual fuel because you never know if you just need a 123 battery or if you can use Mod Light's big batteries. Once again, just remember, especially on a recce team, if you have to, if you turn this light on, all the bad guys know exactly where you are and you have no clue where they are. The only reason I have it is because you may not have a choice. Everything else may be totally down and you may have to use it, and it may save your life at least for a minute. So that's why I have it. And then for the silencer on top, I have the CGS Helios QD Titanium. It's their brand new one, and I got it because it's super light. So although this is a 16-inch barrel and it makes it look like it's really long, I don't even know if it adds a full pound to it. I'll have to look. But one of the things I really like about CGS is it does well on the flash suppression. But the best thing that it does is hearing protection. I don't have to use hearing protection, where with my Surefire RC2 can, I can't shoot it without earmuffs. With this, I can. And so that makes it quieter at my ear and quieter for long-range shots so that people don't pick up on where you're at. So now I know you're asking, hey, you have night vision, where's your laser? I don't use a laser on this one. What I use is the Trijicon, or what I use is the BAE UTC, and I think Trijicon sells them now. BAE sold the business to Trijicon, and so it fits in line with my gun, and it gives me the ability to have thermal. If I'm on the recce team, I want to have thermal because thermal picks up at distance far better than night vision does. Night vision you can kind of see, thermal you're guaranteed to see, so I make sure that I have it set up where I can run thermal. And the cool thing is I can still dial this down to 1 power and my thermal still works up close, and it's pretty awesome. It does make the rifle a little bit heavier, but it's not that bad. All right, an honorable mention rifle. Of course, you're not gonna take 2 rifles, you're only gonna take 1, but it depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're in the mountains, maybe a 5.56 isn't giving you enough. You don't necessarily need to go to a bolt-action sniper rifle. You need a semi-auto rifle because you might have to clear houses. You might have to get in an extended fight or break contact. So I have this. It's a Mega. It's their short frame receiver. So I mean, if I could compare it here, I think the stocks are about the same way out. It's like the same size as having a regular AR-15 5.56, just a touch heavier, doesn't hold as many rounds, but it does hold the 308 and it will give you a pounding. And then what I added to it was the Geisley Super Precision mount and the Night Force ATACR 4-16. And that 4 power allows me that if I had to do something close, I could, or I could dial it up to 16 power to get a little more precision, long range shots, and have just a little more of that 308 power on target. And like I said in my last video, to the effective range of a 308, which is about 600 meters, this thing is pretty amazing. So I would not hesitate to carry this over the 5.56, and as a matter of fact, I probably will. On the other side of that, I've got CGS Hyperion K, and it direct threads. There's a little thread mount. I haven't had any issues with it coming off. I crank it on there tight. It's titanium, so it's light, and it's hearing safe. That's one of my favorite things about it is I don't have to have earmuffs to shoot it. And this package versus this package is roughly the same. I can put the UTC on here. And so, you know, each mission's gonna dictate something different as to whether or not a 5.56 is okay, 308 is okay. If I knew it was gonna be a 600 meter shot, I'm gonna take the 308. If I knew it was gonna be, 4-ish, I'll take the 5.56. But it just depends on what you're doing, and there's so many different variables as to, what I would take and why I would take it. All right, the little stuff you forget about, all right? One of them is I keep a compass with me. I use the Sunto. The cool thing about this is it offers a mirror, so if you needed to look in the mirror at yourself, maybe you need to pick a tick off yourself, but if you needed to get in and out, you have your compass. I have a headlamp. This headlamp does white light and it does IR light, so if I was walking in under my nods and I needed to see something, I could see it, or I could keep it under red light, and I'll always have a headlamp. Make it go from kit to kit with you. I have a set of Ranger beads. So the way Ranger beads, you can watch a video on how Ranger beads work. They do your pace count to let you know how far you are. They go hand in hand with your compass to make sure that you can get to the area where you need to be and know how many steps you took. And then the last thing I keep is a Kestrel. I know you guys are gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's cool, it's for sniping stuff. No, it's not. I keep this so I know what elevation I'm at, what the temperature is, what the wind speeds are, what the wind direction is. All of this is for the assaulting team as they come in. You know, does it add up if you have time to get your dope figured out and make sure that everything is good? Sure. But the purpose of this is a lot of other purposes other than getting my dope. But I always keep this Kestrel with me in my Recce kit. All right, guys, so Recce can change in a lot of things, but if you use basic common sense and you say, Recce is to get there before my assault team and collect intelligence. They're not trying to get in a gunfight. They're not wearing a lot of armor. You know, if you knew that you were gonna go get in a big gunfight against a big element, maybe you are. But overall, you don't need a bunch of armor. You don't need to be seen. Recce teams could also be the teams that go in and come back out. You go in, you get a bunch of information, come back out, compile it, go back in, get a bunch of information, come back out and compile it. Just remember, we always see this bushcrafting stuff and we say, I wanna sleep in a tent and I wanna be really comfortable out there. The truth is, you put on a puffy coat, you wrap yourself up in that marine tarp, and you tuck yourself up underneath a bush where people can't see you. And maybe you dig a small little hole out so you can, you know, be even with the ground, but you stay out of sight, you sleep in the daytime, you operate at night, stay out of sight of everybody so that you can do what you need to do and nobody ever knows that you're there. That is the key, is that nobody ever knows you're there. You take enough ammunition with you to break contact, but you're not gonna eat a lot, you're not gonna camp, you're not gonna make a fire. The idea of this is you're gathering information and nobody knows you're there. And then when your team hits, you're kind of the designated marksman. All right, guys, we've got some really cool stuff coming up. I know YouTube's not gonna let us say it because they never do. So we're on Patreon, also for some OPSEC stuff. So check us out on Patreon. It supports us, we appreciate it. It's a Starbucks cup of coffee a month, and it will help us for our journeys that we're going on. If you stay tuned to what we're doing, we're taking a really big journey. We need your help on Patreon as well. We will continue with updates of behind the scenes stuff and things that the general social media world doesn't really allow us to say. And so we appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you join the Outlaw Nation on Patreon today. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. Go ahead and put me some more notes in there. You know that's helping me with the algorithm. I appreciate it. I love y'all. Outlaw out.